What's the big idea?
Speaking of Batman.
Speaking of Batman. Is that Batman?
Well, no, but
No.
like...
No,
No, remember, but like the music between each scene, it was like... And then
oh, yes.
the thing did the spiral
Gosh,
into the next scene.
yes, Batman.
Yeah.
The old 60s Batman is what... If people haven't seen it, they should go watch it.
Is that the one I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of
That's
the one with, like, the POW
yes.
and all
POW, the crooked scenes, and like they would always do these
weird colors.
Well, there was always like these weird lessons. Like Batman would be, they'd hop in the Batmobile, and Batman would say, "Remember, Robin, always wear your seatbelt." Gosh, yes, Batman. It was like these little lessons interspersed in the show for kids. Remember, Robin, milk is very good for you. It sure is, Batman. I shouldn't forget.
And these are the ones where they're in the car, and it's like the
Batmobile. Yeah,
yeah, but it's like
Adam
bouncing
West.
around like this.
Yeah.
But there's just a screen behind them, and it's like, and they're just like bouncing the thing around,
Yes.
and they're just like blowing wind in their faces. Yeah,
Bad graphics.
there's no graphics.
Bat
There were
graphics.
zero graphics.
Yeah, that was cool. It's funny because like our kids laugh at like stuff that we grew up with in the 90s, right? And they're always like, you could shoot this better on an iPhone today. Like you could make, the filters could be better. The special, like, isn't that crazy that special effects are better now on your phone than could be by like the biggest camera in the 90s, or
even with video, not just like photo.
Even early 2000 stuff versus now, like on your phone.
Yeah,
like it's crazy, right? It's
every
nuts.
year.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking of whatever we were speaking of, this is episode 54, 50. And today we thought it would be good to talk about, we've had a few people asking online, and we thought it would be a good one for parents to hear a little bit about volleyball rules, because a lot of times a rally ends, and as a club parent myself, parents are sitting around going, what did I hear their crazy explanation? And they'll ask one parent, the other parent will tell them something totally wrong. Or if you see it on Facebook, there's a post, somebody asking, what's wrong with this? And then there'll be like 80 wrong answers in the thing, and then a couple people know. But anyway, so we thought it'd be good to clarify some rules for people, basic rules. We're going to try to keep it basic because sometimes, like as players, we forget how little new parents to the game or new families to the game know, so they don't know even the most basic. Sometimes a whistle blows in the middle of a rally and there's confusion. So
we'll do the basic ones first, and then you can listen to those and then stop listening, and then we'll ramble on about more.
Eric will take it to a place that's totally irrelevant.
More detailed little areas.
Because Eric hasn't had the I don't think he's had the parent experience yet. We don't think you have.
Yeah.
We don't know if you have.
Yeah.
But Eric hasn't had the parent, so he hasn't seen like how basic things have to get sometimes. That's sometimes our discussions are like,
Are you calling me basic? Or
no, I'm saying that you're
basic?
like, it's sometimes you don't break things down basic enough because you assume the person knows more than they know, because you're just coming at it from, which is, the way I was too, until I started coaching and teaching. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, whoa, you don't know nothing about nothing.
Yeah.
That's how I used to say to my kids when they were little, oh, you don't know nothing about nothing. They used to go, yeah, I'm a dummy. Like, yeah, you're a dummy. No, I'm just kidding.
Your brain is still growing.
Yeah.
I say it in that voice, should say it in the adult voice, your brain is still growing.
Yes.
Kids like, oh, is it really? What's my brain? Yeah.
That's the way kids talk, exactly. Like Jay Leno. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, Jay Leno. People forget Jay Leno. Isn't that funny? If you ask like a 10-year-old today who's Jay Leno, they'll be like, what?
Ask a 20-year-old nowadays who's Jay Leno. Some will know.
That's actually true. You're right. Man. I remember, so I taught history for a long time. Well, I taught history for a long time, and I'll never forget.
On the time machine.
I'll never forget the day, though, that a student put up her hand, and this was probably earlier than this should have happened. But grade 10 student, and said, "Who's Hitler?"
Wow.
And luckily the whole class was like, "What?" And I was like, "Well, Hitler was
wow,
a leader of Germany." I was like, "Really?" This is like 10 years ago maybe. So a little early for that question. You know,
what was that position? Is it prime minister, or was he an elected? He was elected as like the full leader of all of Germany.
Well, no, they had a chancellor and a president.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Was he?
And so he was president.
He was
and then he took over. I mean, this is the whole history lesson, but then the German Reichstag, which is the government,
I was going to say it was pretty much the party forced the rest of Germany
burned down, and he was so popular that.
Yeah,
people wanted him to be the leader, but
and
then the parliament, the Russian, the German government accidentally burned down, and people are pretty certain that they had that done.
Yeah,
and if you want to know the whole story, just go watch Star Wars. No, it's true, because Star Wars is based on Nazi Germany. People don't know that.
So many Hollywood
Darth
movies
Vader,
are based.
but Darth Vader, right, was the second in command who assumed full command. Remember, there was a chancellor above him, just like what we talked about, and they were called stormtroopers, right? In in the movie, and the Jedi, the people being persecuted, right, with the Force, and that it was all George Lucas talks about that it was based on Nazi Germany. So, yeah, the Empire, they call it the Empire, and the Empire Strikes Back, and that was that's the same terminology used in Nazi Germany. So a lot of people don't know that, but yeah, you're welcome. Anyway, we're off topic. So see, this is what history teachers, right? You ask your history teacher a question, and the whole period is a write-off. And kids would always try to do that to me too, but I never fell for it until today. Anyway, I'm
not your student.
Yeah, but it's just the same mental disorder that I have.
Yeah.
Ask me a question about anything. Who cut your hair 4 hours later?
Can I just like mute my headset and then I could look at you, but like nod every 5 seconds?
That's true.
And you would think I heard you.
But then I'll be asking you a question that will require an answer. And
but I could just be like, whoa, really?
But if it's a question, like what if I said, so what do you think about that?
Should we try it?
Try it.
Okay.
But you're still going to hear me through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that didn't work.
Nah.
Okay, we're off topic again.
Eric forgot we were sitting in the same room. Anyway, so let's go with this. Let's do this. Do you have any that you want to start off with, or do you want me to start?
Well, the first thing are you
going to steal one of the ones that I gave you?
No. Pre-show? I was going to say, I bet you don't even know what I was going to say.
I know what you're going to say.
No.
Yep.
No, you don't.
You're going to say?
I think a good place to start is observing, learning the hand calls that the referee makes when a call is made.
Did you say referee?
I said referee.
I think you said referee.
Ref or E?
Ref or E.
Because when the ref makes a call, they generally will make a hand signal that shows a lot of the majority of the calls that are made.
Oh.
Not of there's obviously more less common ones that are called where I don't think there is a specific hand motion.
Fewer common ones.
Yes, thank you. English teacher as well.
English history. I'm here all week. Anyway, yes, fewer calls.
Yeah, fewer call. What? So for the common calls, when the whistle's blown, a lot of the times it's like ball lands on the court. So whenever the ball lands on the court, I'm sure, but again, we're starting with the basics. So if the ball lands on the court, whistle is blown, and the ref will literally point at the court of the side that it landed on.
Actually, that's not correct, Eric.
And then they will... Huh?
Nope. They point where the ball's going first.
Oh, okay.
They changed that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Because I actually was a ref, even though I'm not certified anymore. I let it fade out. But I'm pretty sure they taught us to blow the whistle,
make the
point
call.
At the call, and then point in the direction of the team that won the point.
But then in rally point days, or maybe after, they started saying immediately make the call first, like who's got served now.
Oh, yeah.
And so the ref will do this.
Maybe that is what we
and
do.
then they'll do that.
Okay, so that's like the tiniest little detail.
So you're 0 for 1.
That's the tiniest little detail.
Yeah, so if you're ever confused, parents, and you're watching a game,
just listen to me. I'll explain everything.
Yeah, let's just put this podcast.
Yeah,
we'll tell you what you're seeing. Like here, try it. Okay, the ball's up. You have to time this. We're not going to time it for you.
Oh, okay.
Now there's a bump.
Oh
no, it's an ace.
Oh, it's an ace.
Now see, the cool thing is the people that really watched an ace are like going to be freaked out by us.
What?
They're going to think that we're like magic. You know what I mean? Because we just...
Oh, because they're listening to us.
Because they're listening to us.
Yeah,
I know. So anyway. But I just ruined it. Anyway, so you can tell. So if parents are ever confused about what happened in a rally, watch the ref point, and that'll tell you who has the next serve. A lot of times people go, whose ball is it? And then they don't know that the ref is, identifying who has the next serve. And then that, like the gestures, I mean, is that a different show or like no, not really.
No,
Yeah, so the down ball
thing.
gesture is like what we showed, like, the ref will point down, means the ball hit the ground or it was down on this side, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the opposite of hitting the ground would be hitting the roof. And that can be complicated these days because there is some interesting stuff about it. Sometimes it hits, well, in our area it changed, but in the States it's been like this forever. But there's some interesting rules that people don't understand about why a ref still might call it if it hits the roof. So we'll talk about that, right? Are we talking about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sure.
Talk about it.
All right, well, in the dawn of, since the dawn of mankind.
Well, they would just call it out.
Well, so here it is. So if it hits the roof, and your team is still playing the ball, the play will be allowed to continue. So if the ball hits the roof, because they've stopped penalizing teams for roof height, which is good, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're playing a lower gym and a good pass hits the roof, that's not your fault. So if it hits the roof, your team can still play the ball. If it hits the roof on the other side of the net and comes back to your team, it's over.
Correct.
Also, if your team has hit it 3 times, then it can't hit the roof. You can't do it. So it has to be before the third contact. So it has to be on your side of the net, and it can't be after a third contact.
But it can't be your own second contact where it hits the roof. It has to be the first. You can't set it into the roof.
You can hit the roof on any ball.
So you could set the ball,
if
let it hit the roof.
I mean, if a setter hits the roof, then that's one strong setter.
Yeah, it's a strong setter. I mean,
but it can play. It can play. So as long as the ball stays on your side of the net, you can play that ball. The problem is when teams start like bumping it into the roof and trying to, you know what I mean? They could hammer it in theory onto the other court. Well, so you can't send it over on the same one that hits the roof.
Right. That's the other thing. If it off the dig, it hits the roof, goes to the other side, the ball's dead. It has to remain on your side. It has to remain
on your side. And you can't use the roof as a weapon, the ceiling as a weapon.
Well, that rule prevents that.
Yeah, exactly. So like
that part of
some people don't understand that. Like some parents watching go, oh, but it can hit the roof.
That'd be ridiculous, yeah.
Yeah. And also it doesn't just mean the roof, it also usually applies to any apparatus, basketball hoops, stuff in the ceiling. So that's the difference that you might see, that you might not understand why the ref blew the whistle sometimes, because we've seen players and parents react like, oh no, but you can play it off the roof now. Not if it goes over the net.
I think there will be differences. What if it because sometimes it, they have like the trusses rattles around, or it hits. Sometimes the basketball net that is pulled up is actually called fully out of bounds, or it's a reserve or something. If it rests on top of the backboard, then comes down.
Right.
The tournament host will have specific rules.
Usually most places are saying that it doesn't matter. Because then there's this, if you open those doors to those weird questions like, well, how long does it have to stay? Just let it play off the roof, whatever. If it ricochets, bounces, whatever, it just has to stay on your side. You have to have more contacts left. It can't be your final contact that goes over. So there's one. So there's one down. Boom,
done.
2 actually, because you mentioned the down call. I think another one that gets another area that a lot of people have questions about, and we've seen it on Facebook a lot lately, is the setting of the libero. So this is one for a lot of people, I think, that are listening, that they don't understand this, because setter takes first ball, pops the ball up. The libero has certain restrictions on them, and these restrictions are in place for good reason, because otherwise teams can sneak on extra setters. So one of the restrictions, the rule said that libero cannot hand set a ball in front of the attack line. So if the libero ever has 1 foot on the attack line or in front of the attack line, they have to then bump set the ball. And again, that's to prevent teams from smuggling in extra setters onto the court and make sure that backcourt defensive specialist is getting a shot to play. So that's that rule.
It's so you can't have your setter dig the ball up, make a really good dig, and the libero comes in and all of a sudden sets a quick.
Yes.
Right. Well, they could set a quick, but
bump quick,
bump quick, or they could do a flying one from behind the attack line, but they can't be posted up there and really make a
So you can take off. That's a good point. They can take off behind the attack line and fly. Which is a lot
of. You see those highlight reels all the time. Right?
That's happening. Liberos are learning this, where they can take off on 1 foot and do some flying sets in front of the attack line, as long as they're in the air, and take off before the attack line. But they cannot hand set inside the attack line with their feet on the ground.
Well, sorry, if they do, handset in front of the attack line, the attacker cannot attack the ball above the height of the net. They actually can still put the ball over.
That's true. Yes.
They just have to do a standing roll shot or volley the ball over.
Yeah, that's a great point, because then it's not in it. Yeah, that's this is great.
Yeah,
this is another whistle. Okay, you've made up for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, because then it's not an attack. And some refs will, they might blow that prematurely.
They might call it a backcourt. Yeah, they for sure would call it prematurely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks. And I think the ruling for that would, if they did set it in front and then the attacker did jump up and hit it, I think it's called a back row attack.
Yeah.
I think that they would do the gesture of a back row attack. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're not sure that the hand call is on that. Yeah, but they would definitely call the libero for the set.
Maybe they've got some special one where they.
Are we certain that if the player doesn't attack it?
Yeah, no, they can set it for sure. I mean,
hand set.
You have to the attacker has to volley it over or do a standing roll shot. You can't jump up
for sure though. Like, what I mean is, is it for sure that the ref won't call it right away?
Well, the ref shouldn't, but you said, they may.
Because is it considered a set if there's no attack? I guess is the question. I'll look that up.
Yeah,
it might be tricky to find.
You can keep it out. I'll find it.
Because I think they might not be allowed to. Yeah, because it can't be called a set. Then it's just a. But that's interesting.
But yeah,
we're learning all the time here.
Right. Why call it there though? Because it's just a player playing the ball.
Yeah,
right?
But it's a libero.
The point
in front of the setting motion. Look it up.
The point of the rule though is to confine the offensive options.
The point of the rule is to prevent someone from sneaking an extra setter onto the court for attacking purposes, though. So,
you can keep talking while I look this up.
All right. Did I ever tell you about the time that I went to
went to Fraggle Rock?
I was gonna say I went to France. I've never been to France, but no. So, well, I'm gonna start something really interesting, and I know you're just gonna interrupt me. So
no. Okay. Here, I'll mute.
No. That's okay. Another one that we can talk about is the libero attack rule while we're on talking about liberos. So the rule with libero attacking is that a libero cannot ever attack the ball above the height of the net. And again, that's so that no team sneaks on
extra hitter,
right? So libero can come up, they can roll the ball, they can even, I mean, you could technically jump in the backcourt, but a ref would probably call you just because they're not sure if you're over the height of the net. But the rule is that they cannot attack the ball above the height of the net. So what does it say?
It says, libero playing actions. The libero cannot block or attempt to block, illegal block. The libero cannot overhand finger set. It says finger set.
Uh-huh.
Why can't I say hand? Well,
it's okay.
Yeah, it just sounds funny. Cannot overhand set a ball while on or in front of the attack line to a teammate who completes an attack while the ball is completely above the height of the net.
Okay. So there you go.
That's 1 for me, 0 for you.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. But I just wonder if the ref, how many refs are waiting for that attack.
Well,
I guess good refs are, I guess.
They're going to see it at higher levels for sure.
Yeah.
And those refs will be used to it.
So as long as that player stays on the ground, doesn't matter how the libero looks while they volley that ball. If it's like a beautiful set, then the player stays on the ground.
They have to stay on the ground, yeah.
Then that's okay. All right, well, we're going to watch for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, parents, watch for that.
Yeah.
And if the ref messes up, scream your ass. I'm just kidding. Don't scream. Don't scream. Just a point. It all evens out. Okay.
And so you may as well continue down the libero line. Libero cannot block.
Libero can't play any ball above the net.
Yeah.
Block. They can... even if they're soft, well, they never would be, but if they're a backcourt player, why would they be? But they can be below the tape and contact the ball.
Yeah.
So even if they're doing like an on the ground soft block,
that can work.
With their hands not above the tape.
Yeah.
If they're a tall libero, they can't do that. So any liberos are they're gonna stay on the ground for the most part, stay below the tape.
Yeah, any 7-foot liberos, if you're blocking, just stop it.
Liberos are getting tall.
Yeah, they've been tall for a while.
Yeah, on some places, some places there, until they get aced.
It's always funny when you're, when you're looking at like a team and you're like, oh, like Oh yeah, that person's like small, like, and then like stand up to them in real life. You're like, oh my god, no, you're not small. You're just like amongst giants.
I know,
like
NBA, like NBA players for years.
Yeah,
like, oh, look how tiny that guy's, and then you find out they're 6'3".
Yeah.
Well, you're not small at all.
Yeah.
I'm just minute.
It's the camera angles.
Minute bowl.
Minute.
Okay, so I think we're done. No, other rules that parents might not know. One thing that I think gets called that a lot of parents might not know what's going on is the penetration on the block. So unless the other team has contacted the ball 3 times, you can't, as a blocker, break the plane of the net and touch that ball. So if it's like the set, or if it's going to the setter and the player jumper blocker reaches up and touches that ball while the setter's trying to set the ball.
Right after the setter sets the ball,
yeah, or even like while they're setting the ball,
yeah,
affecting the set, or if they get up there and like contact the set before the player attacks the ball.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Another one is where that ball's like gonna drop down, like a bad pass or something, and that player reaches over and drops that ball down while the player's waiting underneath the ball. That one happens a lot. You know what I mean? Where a player's waiting to take that second ball, and then the blocker goes up and touches it. I
think it's called interference.
Yeah, interference, and they call that interference.
And then the hand gesture for that is they put their hand up to the net, and then they just like reach over like this.
Yeah, there's a reach over call. Yeah.
I'm like,
oh, sorry, I'm not. No, yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
what are you saying?
This is the net, and then the ref will put their hand here, and they'll go like this.
Yeah, they go like over the net. Yeah. There's this call, and then there's this call for backcourt. We didn't mention that too. The libero call is that if the libero takes off in front of the attack line, they'll call it a back row attack.
Only if the hitter jumps.
Only if the hitter jumps,
and
it is ruled to be above the net height. And that's another one we could talk. Oh, sorry. What was the one I was going on there?
You were talking about the interference calls.
Interference call. Yeah. And the interesting thing about this, here's something that I think no ref calls, by the way. So imagine this, right? Free ball comes over. Player decides to set the player on 2. Okay? Or like on 1. Set the player, right? The first ball. Oh, set it, right? Player swings. Blocker penetrates. Should it be called? Because they've only contacted the ball twice.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
These should not be called.
Because the ball hasn't crossed the plane yet.
I know. That's funny. But the
should
ball
be called every time.
Yeah, that's funny. But obviously the ball is being hit over the net.
But it hasn't crossed yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you right now that you don't get called.
Nobody would call it. Nobody calls it. I know. No. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'd like to make that case if I could go back to my prime. That was only on 2. That was only on 2.
I would love to understand, or I would love to read the rule description of that, because it's got to be.
Well, the rule is, like, I've read it. I remember, like, the player can't reach across until the ball has been. Well, no,
but they must have added the paragraph describing that, because people will block that.
Yes.
Well, obviously they do. Not people will. They do. They've been doing it for years now.
Yes. On 2. Yeah. Penetrating block.
So, but that's what I mean. The description of exempting that block penetration from that rule.
I think
it's written down somewhere.
Yeah,
it's I think I did look it up. To read.
I think I did look it up, and I think there is something about an attacker. Yeah, I think there's something about an attack. You can penetrate on an attack.
Now you're just confusing the people.
I know, but it's a good thing to think about. But it is good because a lot of people, like, that's a type of play that will get called dead, and the people won't know why it's getting called dead or why the other team gets the ball.
I've never seen that happen.
Oh no, sorry, not that. I mean when the player, touches the ball before the third contact, or like, the set's tight and then the blocker goes up and reaches over and knocks it down, or if there's a weird ball that's not coming over. I remember one time I was coaching and one of our players did that, where a ball was like, it was their third contact. Yeah, the team like bumped a ball and it was like third contact. And our blocker went up and just touched it back down to them, reached over, penetrated, and swatted the ball right down and gave them another 3 hits,
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I told a player once, don't even do that. Like, even though we won the rally, even if we won the rally, don't ever do that, because you're just giving them a chance. It's going to fall on their side.
That's
anyway.
right, yeah.
So don't bother. You just give them 3 new touches, right?
I love that. When a scramble play happens and you're right at the net, you have to try and get it over, but all you can do is really get it up. This happened to me recently, and I just smashed it really up high, and then I just waited to see if the other team would go up and go for it.
Yeah.
And then sure enough they did, and then we got like a
3 hits.
recycle.
Yeah, dumb. So yeah. So if you're doing that, stop it.
Yeah.
Was there something I was gonna ask people? Oh yeah, I was gonna ask people if they're still listening. We're 24.
Are we gonna
minutes.
get calls in?
Well, we're 24.
We have a
call. We should do that. It's clearly our voice. Yeah, I really love your show, guys. Thanks, man.
Is that Jay Leno?
Yeah. Really love your show, guys. No. I was gonna say, people listening, if there's anybody still listening, and you're with a club team, reach out to us because we'll wear your club stuff.
People say that.
Yeah, people were like, asking us. We're like,
I don't think you'll fit.
Send us what? Just send me a medium, skin tight. No, if you want to send us your club gear, we'll wear it on the air.
Yeah, but they paid money for that,
and we'll do shout outs for your club. What? That is the money. No, come on, we gotta help clubs grow, right?
It'd be cool,
and then you will wear your gear. We'll have it displayed in the thing, and then your club will be featured on an episode, and we'll give it a shout out. So yeah, reach out to us at info at Volleyballogy, info@volleyballogy.org, or on Facebook, right?
Yeah,
and then or through our YouTube channel, and then you'll get our you're an extra large?
Yeah, probably.
I'm an XL.
I've been working it.
I'll take an XL. I'll take an XL. And then just send us along. We'll wear them in the show, and we'll be your little advertising.
Yeah,
big free advertising here. But anyway, another rule, Eric, that you can think of that gets blown dead quite often. People might not know.
Well, when the attack is made, but the attack hits the net or the top of the tape,
mm-hmm.
and then the tape hits the blocker, right, and then the other team, the attacking team, recycles the ball as if they're covering the block.
Oh.
And then the ref will end the call or end the rally, and they will point at whatever team. But if they're pointing at the blocking team that didn't touch the ball, they'll point at them, and then they'll put up 4 fingers because the attacking team touched the ball 4 times.
Gotcha.
And so the block never actually touched the ball. Therefore,
so the ball didn't get over the net.
The ball didn't get over the net. But
that's the longest explanation.
Shut up.
But sometimes people are confused.
Yeah, and sometimes the blocker's confused because they feel a touch on their hand.
Right.
So they don't really know.
Wrists or elbows or armpits.
Yeah.
And then
that's also an example where, because you're not allowed to touch the net, but if the ball is hit into the net.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
And then the net hits you as the blocker,
yes.
You didn't do
yes.
an infraction, or I don't know what you call it.
You didn't perform. You didn't infract.
You didn't have a fault.
Yes.
The net was hit into you.
That's 2 separate rules. Now you're confusing people.
Yeah.
So the first one,
blending them together.
it's like a good mix. I love this song. So you said the first one was no block touch. So that means 4 contacts. 4 contacts. The ref holds up 4 fingers because the blocker looked like they blocked it, but they didn't. They maybe even felt it, but they didn't. And then where I thought you were going was what you rolled into there, which is if the ball, even if you see the blocker hit the net, but if the ball was hit in the net, the ref will never call the blocker on the net because the net moved. Sometimes in beach you get away with that too. If there's like a really bad wind and your nipples scrape the net.
It happens.
Did I tell you about that? How I lost my nipples?
Yeah. You got them back though.
Sharp net in South America.
Yeah.
They grew back naturally. Like, I didn't know nipples are like.
Well, they do some pretty wild surgeries down there, right?
But no, nipples are like snakes. They it just grows back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
I didn't know that. So don't do this, kids. Don't try that at home. We're very influential now. We can't talk like that.
Yeah.
Anymore, Nipple. You just get 2 nipples, maybe 3 if you're lucky. So. Anyway.
Okay.
But I regret.
Yeah. So there's those 2 rules.
There's those 2 rules. Way to sum it up.
I'm sorry.
Here's another rule.
It's late and we're.
It's early, Eric. We don't want to tell people that we record so late. This is like we get up at 9 a.m.
It's late.
Like, we report
extra giddy.
We report to the office at 9 a.m.
Yes.
Just like everybody else. Anyway.
All right.
So, more rules.
Center line. It's pretty straightforward one.
You want to sum that up?
Yeah, you can.
Is it straightforward?
Right. There's some
trickiness.
nuance to it.
Nuance.
I like saying that.
Variance.
No, it's straightforward.
50 Shades of Grey.
You cannot step on the center line.
Did you hear what I said?
I did. 50 Shades of Grey?
Yeah, I said 50 Shades of Grey. Like it's not black or white. It's 50 Shades of Grey. All the volleyball moms.
Why not
All the
100?
volleyball moms know what I'm talking about. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm actually going to need... Oh, yeah, no, I think I know. Yeah, you cannot step on the line. If you step on the line, that's a fault. So,
You can step on the line. Your foot can't be all the way over the line. Oh, Eric. Bam.
No, you can't step on the line at all.
You can step on the line. You cannot. Your foot must be all the way over the line for there to be an infraction.
All the way over?
Yes.
No. If the line is here and your foot crosses it halfway.
Nope. Legal. Look it
Really?
up. Look it up. Yeah.
Wow.
Your foot has to be all the way over in the line.
All the way over.
Yes, for it to be called.
I think you might be wrong.
Maybe, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I reffed a lot of rec volleyball, my friend.
Yeah. And then do you want to talk about the because you can have your body over?
Yes, that's the thing. See, as long as it's weird because half your body can be under the net, but what's the rule on that?
You just can't contact anyone.
Yeah, you can't contact anyone. But how is that then? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that makes my half foot theory.
No, but then you go to beach volleyball where you can absolutely go into the net.
Yeah, because there's no line.
Yeah,
and you definitely can't touch anybody.
You definitely can't touch anyone.
Yeah. Indoor, you can have part of your body on your part of the court and be under the net and not. Yeah. And that's why the foot rule is there. But because that one whole foot is the foot rule. Right. Check. Do you see it? Do you find it?
Yeah. And
what does it say?
In beach, you can land on each other's feet, blocker and attacker.
Quit talking about beach, Eric. Show me that I'm right. I want to hear it. I want to hear it from your lips.
Okay, this is from rookieroad.com.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds like a good source.
Yeah. I don't know why. Excuse me.
They're very good.
In volleyball, it is occasionally permitted for players to penetrate the space under the net on the opponent's side of the court, so long as this does not interfere with the opposing team's ability to play. Under the Fédération Internationale de Volleyball,
FIVB,
yes, rules, any crossing of the center line that interferes with play is considered a center line violation and can be penalized. Where is the description? Okay, well, one type of centerline violation that can frequently occur in volleyball is crossing the center line with the feet. While players are permitted to cross the center line with their hands, so long as they do not interfere with play, Rule 11 states clearly that the full foot of a player cannot cross the center line in any way.
Full foot.
Partial crossing of the center line with one's feet is permitted.
There you go.
But some part of the foot must remain on or behind the center line. Wow.
Yep.
I think this whole time I've just been trying to keep my entire foot behind the center line.
Well, it's a good way to live to save your ankles.
The only instance in which crossing one's feet fully over the center line is permitted in volleyball is when the ball has gone out of play. Right. But then you're not even crossing the center line because the center line doesn't. You're chasing it outside of the bounds, anyways. In this instance, players are permitted to cross the center line, but must return to their side of the court when play resumes. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. 1 point Zooey.
Well, it's a good way to live to stay off that center line because you're gonna roll your ankle or get injured. Like nobody really thinks like, okay, I can get a little bit over this line. It's not a good way to live, but it is the rule that you can be halfway over the line. It has to be a whole foot. But half your body can be as long as your legs are on the other side and you don't touch anybody.
Yeah,
so you will see some players.
Players go for the dive and then their body extends and then they have
which
to
is
put
such
their hand down.
it seemed like a great inconsistency to me in volleyball because like if your whole torso can be under the net, why can't one whole foot be under the net if you don't touch anybody?
And then the person on the other side could just like do a shuffle step, hit them, and then just be like, oh, like interference. So
I guess too, it's probably to protect against the players thinking they can get their feet under because it's such a dangerous situation. So it is.
I'm thinking it's mostly for ankle protection.
Yeah, so it is a good way to live to just not even do that. Don't even let your
just don't do it. Just stop it.
Just stop it. If you're doing it, stop it.
Yeah.
Another rule that confuses parents.
Wipe.
I mean,
wipe on the block.
Okay, yeah, like off the block out of bounds.
Well, we saw this little called more strictly at the past Olympics, right? This one referee cracked down on it big time, like wiping the block. I think he called, I forget what team it was, and then the players were just like very confused because I think at this last Olympics they tried to. It was also in World Volleyball as well. They tried to like kind of crack down on attackers wiping the ball off the block. So it's kind of like
who really touches it last, you mean?
No, it was more so the motion of the swipe.
Gotcha. Because it could be like considered a lift
or like a thrown ball or a held ball. Yeah, directing the ball exactly.
Yes. So, I saw that. You're right. And even blockers going up were getting called a little bit for directing a little more than they have in the past. I saw that a couple times.
Yeah, but that's fine.
I know it's fine, but I saw it get called, and players were like livid because some players, in
indoor.
I know. Yeah, it was an indoor. It was a bad call, but yeah.
What was the call even have been?
The size they do the lift gesture or the held ball gesture.
Oh, it's where they like
just where it's held really a little too long. But in theory, there's nothing wrong with that. That's been done forever in volleyball. But anyway, so you're talking about the player was trying to swipe it off the block, but they're actually like over handling the ball almost to the point of directing the ball too long, manipulating it too long.
Yeah, it's where like the attacker
more like
pretty
a throw off the block.
They know they're going to get blocked, so it's smart by the attacker. Yeah. They'll get their hand on the ball, kind of like they're going to tip the ball, and then they'll push it into the hands of the blocker and then out of bounds, right? If there's too much control doing that, if you're really changing the ball in more than one direction, if your hand starts behind the ball and then moves in that direction continuously, it should be fine. This is why it's so subjective, right? Because
but on a hit, your hand shouldn't be on the ball that long.
No, on a hit, it won't. This is only when you're actually placing your hand on the ball like a tip when you're going to wipe.
Yes.
So if you're swinging at the ball, there shouldn't be any.
But even a tip, that's why I think refs are right to call it. If you're swiping and holding it so long, whereas a tip would be moment on the fingers.
This is why. It's because in that wipe motion, you're holding the ball way longer than a tip.
I agree with that. And you're like fighting it and you're pushing through.
Yeah, because you may actually hit the block and then the ball stays in your hand. So then a tip turns into a joust and a joust turns into a wipe.
Yep.
So then this is why it's difficult to call, right?
Yeah. And for generations, people have been getting away with a little on that play. The spirit of the rule is that, if you swing or tip off the block on purpose, then it's a use, we would call that, where you use the block to gain a point.
Yeah.
But then, that can lead to players taking liberties on things. And there's something else you said in there that made me think of another rule that I want to talk about. So that's been getting called sort of, that's one. I mean, the real rule that you'll see at youth volleyball is you might not see it touch the block, but it got a touch on the block, and it's the lines people's call, by the way. Like, so parents, if your parents, however, get called to officiate, your job isn't just to call lines, and I don't think they prep parents on this enough. Your job is to also call block touches in the corners, right? So the lines people have the best angle to see if a finger got moved or the ball changed direction. So that touch call with the flag where you put your hand up on top of the flag, it almost looks like a timeout call almost. That's the proper touch call for a parent to make when they're holding the flag or whoever's doing the lines.
Yeah.
Because that's one that sometimes the audience doesn't know. They're like, that ball was out by 5 feet, but they don't know that there was a touch and the ref will make that call too. The ref will do this call. Like, if I can see this at the camera, the ref will make that call, and the lines people will do like a T on top of their flag.
Yeah, they hold the flag.
So that's what's happening there. So that's a touch call, and that's what I thought you were going with that, and that's sort of what the call would be on that swipe play if the ref deems the swipe or wipe to be clean.
And I think that rule leads into middles throwing the ball instead of attacking the ball. So I've known a few middles making a career. Not an actual pro, but like a career in adult leagues. Yeah. Just going up and like they don't even get backswing. They just get their hand on the ball and just throw it down. So and
everybody thinks it feels wrong.
And it just doesn't look right. But there's a fine line where it is fine, and then it's not fine.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it has to do with how long that ball is in the hand and if it's changing direction more than once, right? Yeah. If it's going this way and then that way, then obviously it's a held ball, or I think they even call it a throw.
Yeah, throw, directing. They used to call it back in the day.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times now it's just being called a lift. I think they're just they'll do the lift gesture a lot if a player, because the bottom line is it's just in the hand too long.
Yeah, because if the player gets their hand on it and they're still able to get like on behind the ball and then above it, and then whereas they would normally be pushing it deep, but now all of a sudden they get on top of it and then they push it straight down. No one can defend that. Yeah. So then it doesn't seem right. So those should be called, like, and it's tough to do. Refs, hopefully, good luck with that. But I think if you crack down on it once, though, then the attacker kind of
The tricky part is when they crack down on it and the players, like the next ref or the next match or all season, it hasn't been cracked down on. That's their thing. I think that's one of the ones that we should probably talk about is the double, right, on setters. Like there's been a lot of shifting with this rule over the years. Like the original rule used to be like if a setter, a lot of parents and players and coaches get baffled when a set, when refs are unpredictable in how they call it. So a ball comes out one way, whistle, same set, next play, no whistle.
Fine.
Beach, right? Beach just happens a lot too. Where it's just like sometimes it's very strange the calls they're making. But I mean, the rule used to be that if the ball came out with any spin indoor, then they would blow it dead. That's when we played. Like, if a setter had
call it a double,
because the theory was that the only way you could put spin on the ball is if there was a non-simultaneous
which
contact
they realize
by the
is
hands.
not true.
Yeah, and then they realize that's not true. So now they're like, no, you can set a ball clean and same simultaneous contact with both hands.
Sure,
so it's not a double contact.
You could get a slow top spin.
Yeah, I've done that. Like as a non-setter, when I set the ball would spin. People would call. I was like, that was clean. But today they've realized that, and also sort of the reason why it changed is they want the rallies to get better for TV.
Yeah.
So they told refs to relax on that. But that's what you will see a double. The ref will raise their hands like this if the setter did not set it clean. And the reason it's called a double is because the hands did not contact the ball simultaneously. So double contact.
I think one thing, if the ball comes with side spin, that might be indicative of a double. If it is top spin, that's generally fine. It's just a release with the top of the hands. But if it has side spin, it's probably because one hand, they didn't come off at the same time. So.
It was kind of like a lazy thing. I thought refs just used to assume doubles. Like, they just call double, like whistle, any spin, double. I was like, really? Was it double? Like,
yeah, because there's a handful of gifted setters that can set, like, you get someone bombing spin serves at you, and the pass is like 40 feet up in the air.
Yes.
Yeah, good luck setting that.
Oh, I know.
There's some setters that can do it, but
it's terrifying for anybody.
Yeah.
High passes are the worst.
And I think that's part of the reason why in beach they allow more of the cradling, because you're dealing with now crazy height on the ball, crazy height and spin and wind. So let's let the players control the ball so the rallies can keep going.
But old school beach, the setting rules were so much stricter. Like the deep dish was there, but it was like
but the deep dish itself allows more control once you get used to it.
Yeah, but it was like so setting in like playing in the old school days, like every set used to get called all the time. Like so many.
That's why more bump setting.
And that's why, certain players back in the day we bump set on the beach just because there's too many refs were just like crazy with power.
Is that what Karch got called on? Or was it that hand when he ripped
the net down?
Ripped the post?
No, I think that was they called him on a block touch, and he did not touch it. And he was the guy. He was the guy who sent the ball over. So there's no way he would have. He said, "Listen, I never would have attacked this. I would he wouldn't have. You know what I mean? Like he was the guy he set the ball." So he was like, I wouldn't set him if I touched the block. You know what I mean? His partner dug it up, and Karch set his partner. And Karch was like, I did not touch the block. Because in beach, block
right.
If you saw
he would have put it over.
He would have, he would have put it over. And so that's why he was so livid. And that was like right at crunch time at a major tournament. Yeah. And he ripped the net down. And they lost. They lost that match, didn't they? Yeah. So one time Karch cried. Anyway, if you haven't seen that, go on YouTube, look up Karch cry, rips net down. But it was one of the few times that Karch totally lost on the volleyball court. But
Manhattan Beach? I forget.
I forget where it was. But
he was on the East Coast.
Anyway, so but the idea was that what were we talking about there? Did we finish that point? Before you got us off topic there.
The thrown ball?
Is that what it was? I don't think that's what it was.
Oh no, sorry, the double.
The double, yes. Okay, so that's what you will see, the double, yeah. And oftentimes, a lot of times, refs will just call doubles. Like when they see the middle go set the ball, they're just getting ready. They're just like they're ready to blow the whistle. They're just like, this is gonna suck. Yeah. So be careful of that too. But anyway, the one thing I was gonna say was there's a lot of messed up, and I've seen refs mess this up too, where they don't know the rule change that. You can not get called like they're calling doubles on first contact now on serve, like not serve receive, but even
can't do that.
Even on free balls and rallies. I saw a ref call someone on a face pass that came out dirty, but you can't do it. So and parents who grew up in a certain era still argue when they see a dirty pass.
Even on a free ball?
Free ball, nothing. You first contact, you cannot get called double ever. free ball, dig, whatever. So people think that you can get called on a double on a ball that gets bumped over to you. You can't.
I thought on a free ball you could.
No, not indoor. Indoor, like,
okay,
you can do a double on any first contact now, because that's, again, the idea. The spirit is to get the rallies going.
Yeah.
So there are still some refs that call it, and the coach will just lose it because they know that they're wrong. And then the other way, there's refs who don't call it properly, like on serve, receive even, right? And then the parents are like, why isn't that a call? Because they don't know that doubles are allowed. So honestly, the rule is, like, I was in a reffing seminar once with, and the ref said to us, because this is around the time the libero change, and this is when the rules changed on that too. And they said, unless the player catches the ball, we're not, like, they're instructed on the national level on serve receive, they're not going to call anything on serve receive.
Wow.
Because they want the rallies to continue, and because the serving got so much more liberal. Remember, this is when the let serve came into volleyball, right? So once they allowed people to bomb their serves and hit the tape and fly anywhere, they had to relax the passing rules. Because before that, you couldn't even face pass the serve, right? Like when I was playing in, like, high school and maybe Ultima University, we couldn't face pass the serve. We had to forearm pass everything, or tomahawk or something. You couldn't.
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I didn't know.
Before the libero.
Yeah,
you had to forearm pass the ball. So even when you were playing club.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I would have been playing.
Yeah, I know it's hard to remember time. I can't imagine what we used to. We must have just started so much deeper in the court.
We did,
right?
I'm still a forearm passing dominant player. Like, I still don't prefer to use to face pass. I'm just
I changed that. I started face pass. I was like, this is so much easier.
It is,
Just step up and face pass everything. I was like, But that's one of those things where you, like, just as a coach, I learned to tell players, why are you forearm passing? Just step up and face pass.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Well, the forearm passes too, right?
It is if it's like a bomb. Like if it's a spin serve, it's a rocket. Just get.
But if it's an easy serve.
But if it's an easy serve or a float serve, you can take so much charge of that ball. A step up too, right? Don't let the ball. It's kind of like the second baseman or shortstop who sits back on a ball. Why are you letting the ball do more funky stuff? No, tough float serve. The ball first. Step up, cut it off. Take control of the ball. Don't let it take control of you, kind of thing. So that's the one that I think I see a lot of people mess up on. Like that first contact,
that would be a big one.
Can never be called a double, and you usually see if you see it messed up these days, it's the ref messing it up because they still are in old school mode. But yeah, so if you see that, I mean, and again, it can get called if you hold it too long or if you direct it, right? If you lift it, that's a difference. So if you're going for a ball with an open hand and it contacts like anything but the base of the palm, like that will be called a lift because a lot of fingertip included in that.
Yeah,
palm.
I think the way I heard that described is it needs to be percussive.
That's a good way to say it, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like pop off the hand or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. I always tell people base of the palm or side of the, I prefer like just to avoid any problem
because you can get a great, if you just swing your arm and it just hits the whole hand and pops. Totally fine. I
just don't have faith in refs. I think anytime they see someone go underneath that ball with an open hand, there's a chance, even if they, unless they maybe play, but they just might call it. So I always just turn this into a flat fist. I know it's a smaller area. Pop it up, great direction, gets good height. You can even set the ball. Yeah. Sort of less control because this is pretty limiting too, right? Like there's going to be spin on it.
No, but you can actually, with your hand open, you can pass it well. Like you can.
Yeah,
hit the ball like quite accurately. With this, it's a bit of a.
Well, no, I don't go that. I go flat side of the fist.
What?
Yeah, this flat side of the fist. So you don't do this. You don't do this. You go this, and then you can bring it back. You can set the ball. It's beautiful. Try it. Yeah. Try it sometimes.
No, I'm not gonna try that.
It works. Look at how flat that is. It's beautiful.
Yeah, there's like this bone here. Look at that.
Nope. Oh, not on mine. See, I wrap mine.
Oh, you got a weird hand.
Well, no. So I don't elevate it. I put it down. So
look, I still have this.
Oh yeah.
So you have a weird hand.
Yeah, I use this as my secret weapon.
Look at
set this crap.
Mutated.
I almost swore.
Knuckles.
Yeah.
So I'm never gonna try that.
It works really well.
That's why you teach the underhand serve that way.
Oh, maybe.
Because your hand.
Make
is
it a club.
Up.
Yeah, make it a club.
What did you do? Did you sit on it or when you were a kid?
Well, I used to. I sat on. I remember I used to have I used to sit on my.
Yeah.
And then
I don't want to know.
Sneezed.
The way you used to.
I don't know what that means.
Pleasure yourself.
Oh, whoa. Kids show, Eric. Come on. I don't even know what pleasure is. Anyway. Pleasure sounds like a dirty word, right? Only in our society does pleasure sound like a dirty word.
If you ever see that word in a business name, it's usually not
Pleasure.
something
It's weird, eh?
PG.
Pleasure. It just sounds, that's so sad that word in our culture is like
But it's so close to pleasant.
pleasant. Yeah.
Pleasant pleasure. What about pleasant pleasure?
I don't know. I just wanted to do something to pleasure myself today. If you say pleasure yourself, everybody looks at you like you're a freak. Anyway, other rules. Other rules of volleyball that people don't know. So backcourt attack rule. We should maybe address it. We talked about the libero. So a player who's hitting in the backcourt. So if they're getting set and they're a player in the backcourt, they have to take off behind the 3-meter line, the attack line, the 10-foot line. And any other words for that line in the U.S.? 10-foot line is what it is.
I've only ever heard it called the attack line.
I know. It's a 10-foot line in the U.S., 3-meter line in Canada.
But it's not really 10 feet. It's really 3 meters. It's probably
But now you're offending.
It's probably like 9.
Now you're offending the non.
It's like 9.8. Here, you want to know how many feet it is?
But that's what it's called. Anyway,
all right, we're gonna find it.
this is what I meant about Eric getting off topic. So the backcourt player has to take off behind that attack line, and that's why it's called the attack line.
Yeah, it's
and they
9
can hit the
feet
ball.
and 10 inches.
They can land in front
not
of
10 feet.
they can land in front of the attack line.
Yes, and here they cannot touch the line at all.
Here they cannot touch
unlike the center line.
Yes, they can't have a foot on the line.
A toe.
They can't lay it on the line.
They can't
lay it all on the line.
Right.
They're walking that.
Yeah, you're gonna all right.
Walk the line. Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
lay it all on the line. That's
lay it on the line.
Yeah, that's not Johnny
There's
Cash.
No. Walk the line is Johnny Cash.
I know. Who's the first one?
I didn't. I said lay it all on the line. That's not the song. The song is lay it on the line. Lay it on the line. Yeah, I used to sing. I like to talk about that. I was big in the karaoke bar circuit, the underground karaoke bar circuit in the 60s. I was really big. I wasn't even born in the 60s, in case people are believing that. Because they're like, he does have a good voice, though.
Triumph,
yeah, Canadian band.
Oh,
Triumph,
geez.
yeah. Scarborough.
Triumph is a British motorcycle brand.
Wow, you don't say.
Yeah.
I wish you didn't say. So yeah, if you're attacking out of the backcourt and you're stepping on the line, stop it.
It's not good.
It's against the law. And then the reffing call for that is this.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
I almost made a whistling gesture.
Wow,
so they'll
really
point. They'll point to the other side.
That's a great rotator cuff.
This is the people.
Eh?
Yeah.
Refs must have great rotator cuffs.
The ref will point to this, and then they'll look this way, and they won't. And they'll just go. They'll go like this. They may even point at the player. They may even, nobody's seeing anything you're doing. You're not even on camera. You're doing. Eric was doing real bad.
I felt like C-3PO.
Do it. That's good.
Oh, is it?
Can you do a C-3PO voice? Master Skywalker. Do it.
Master.
That's what he used to say, didn't he?
Yeah. I can't do it.
You can't do it.
No.
Pressure's on.
Yeah.
R2-D2? We must be running out of ideas. Oh, yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
I don't. I can't do it. Anyway, why are people here? Volleyball rules. Can you think of one?
Well, I mean, I can think of like really. There's substitutions.
Yes. Okay. This is.
But that's changed. I don't know. You're allowed so many substitutions, and when a player subs in for someone, they have to replace them back out when they come back off. So your subs are used strategically. You can't just like in soccer, you can sub anyone on for anyone all the time. But in volleyball, if someone takes someone off, they must make that a same exchange back off the court. Same two players. What's the other thing with subs?
Is that true? Like so if you have a third left side hitter.
Yeah, like if I go in for
someone,
then I have to unless you're injured, maybe.
I don't know if you're saying. I think you're making stuff up now.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, no. That's not what I meant. Yeah.
I think we're getting too intricate here. I'm talking about those plays that parents don't understand.
That's what I mean.
There is that other rule where like kids are standing on the bench, and then the ref will tell them they have to move past the end of the bench if they're going to stand.
Yeah,
You can't stand at the
just
bench.
stand
And a lot
behind
of
the
parents-
baseline.
Yeah, a lot of parents
back
don't
line.
understand that rule, but it's because they could look like a player on the court, on the sidelines or something, or they can get in the way. So or they're supposed to be seated on the bench. That's like a rule. So that's when I'll stall and I'll say that one while we're waiting. What are some more basic rules that we're forgetting?
I think I had the something wrong.
Yeah, I think you did too.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that where like a third person can come
Yeah.
in. Yeah. That's why I was worried when you were saying you
No,
want to talk
I
about.
was right.
Oh, what's your?
Yeah, I was right.
Oh, I don't know. I think you've lost all credibility now.
Well,
Now I'm wrong
this
again.
is from the Art of Coaching Volleyball.
Oh, and what does it say?
Who can a player sub in for? So here we go. Any player except the libero can sub in for anyone in the match. All right. So do we need to talk about the libero? Any libero can go in. Anyways.
Yeah. Libero has to be declared at the start of a match,
Yes, and they wear a different colored shirt.
and they can run in, and that's how the ref can tell.
And they're
who the
typically
libero is.
shorter. You can always
Typically
tell.
shorter. And then usually they're not very good looking. No, just kidding. If you're a libero, you're beautiful. I would have been a libero today maybe, but I was devastated.
Okay, so any player except the libero can sub in for anyone in the match, but once they have subbed in or out for a player at a certain position, they can only sub in again for that same player at the same position for the rest of the set. So I was right.
Oh,
For example, if number 7 comes off the bench to replace number 1, the only way number 1 can get back into the match is to replace number 7
okay, yes.
at her original position.
But you made it sound like nobody else could come in for number 7. Somebody else could come in for number 7. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's true. Like that player can't come back in for anybody else.
Oh,
But what if you had 3?
That's what
Remember I
meant.
said that's what I meant.
Because that's the way typically the way we use the sub is for a serving specialist, or you take your setter off and you put a different right side in, and then you take your right side off and put a different setter in. So it's like called the double sub or whatever.
Yes.
So we would always go out back with the same player.
Yes.
But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah. So you were right.
There's the
You were
distinction.
right. It's just the way you said it sounded like you meant that nobody else could come in that position other than those 2. But yes.
Right.
Yeah. Because I was saying, what if you have 3 players playing that position? That's different. But yes, the same player. You can't move that player to a different position.
Yeah.
100%. Good.
Yeah.
Glad we cleared that up. That's why
Nice.
we're here.
That's why we're here.
Communication wins. Okay, so that's the subbing rule.
Does win.
And how many subbing now?
Well,
it varies by.
it varies.
Yeah, it could be different.
So they're
in different
saying-
countries.
They're saying club volleyball
Canada, US.
allows 12 subs per set.
Does that say Canada, U.S.?
Well, the Art of Coaching Volleyball is American.
US, yes.
Yeah. So international 6 subs per set.
Wow.
High school 15.
Yeah.
With many subs.
That's to promote more
Right.
development, so coaches let people play.
Yeah. Yeah. So I get only 6 at the international level, eh? But again, you rarely see. You'll see maybe 2 or 3 tops.
Yeah.
At
Yes.
international level.
Yeah, unless there's injuries, they know. And that's the difference, like, that's the difference between, pro, like we talk about on the show, right? Pros versus youth coaches act like pros and they're short bench and very few substitutions. Those are adult players who are fully formed and developed, and everybody knows what they're getting into, and they're not really developing.
And they have
the
a
same
role.
way. Yeah, the same way kids
role.
are. But then adults watch that stuff and then they go bring it to their youth clubs and they're like, all right, we're going to start these 6, and you other kids just run on the bench unless we need you. When you don't know, that kid's like 14, 15, 16, even 17, they're still developing. So like you should, work them in a bit better than that.
We should talk about the captain.
Good.
And the captain, the ref, and the coach, and then what the coach is allowed to do, because there should be an up ref and a down ref. The coach can talk to the down ref. The coach cannot talk to the up ref. The coach can talk to them via their captain, right? So if there's a dispute, the coach can talk to their captain, ask their captain to ask the ref something. The captain will go over, talk to the ref, have a discussion with them. Sometimes you'll see the up ref call the down ref over, or a lines person, to clarify something. And then the captain will then talk to the ref and then go back to their coach. So this kind of prevents, coaches yelling.
And the whole team barking at the ref.
Yes, right.
That's why you'll see, what will you see the ref do when someone else who's not the captain barking at the ref?
who's not. Well, they will push them away like this, or they card them, and then they usually do the call for the captain, or where they pull their hand towards them.
And they usually do the captain sign as the hand on the chest, right? Because the captains today have a line under their number, so the ref will do this call where they're gesturing.
Oh, they don't wear headbands anymore.
They don't wear headbands anymore. Yeah, the captain, in rec ball.
Dang.
Yeah. In rec ball, it's just the biggest person on the court. Well, the captain. So that then they'll call for the captain. That's that sign, the line call, and then the captain will come over and they'll gesture the captain over. And basically, that's their way of saying, "You shut up. You shut up.
Yeah.
I'm only talking to the captain," which is a good rule in volleyball. And players should remember that.
It's respectful for the ref. Allows them to kind of keep their calm and
So if parents have a problem, they should be quiet. But players on the court, you tell your kids if they have a problem, tell their captain.
Yeah.
And there's always, if the captain gets subbed out, the coach has to designate an on-court captain. Who's your captain on the floor? And then the coach usually forgets that they have to do that. And they're like, Larry, 5, number 7. Or Larry.
You just did the next call that we're going to talk about.
What's the next one?
Out of rotation.
Ooh, rotation call.
Stir in the pot. I wish they did it like this, but they don't.
Yeah, the rotation call is this, pointing it out. And the rotation call is good because so the team is not in violation until a point is played.
Yeah.
So that's why you can see teams rushing around, or a coach will call a timeout if they notice something and try to fix it.
And they can ask for a rotation check from the down ref.
They can even ask the ref. Yeah, a lot of coaches, if you're unsure and your team isn't this, every coach can relate to this, I think, or your team is like in chaos. They're looking over at you and you're like, and you're like, time it. And then you ask the ref, can we have a rotation check? And the ref will pull out the card, the rotation card or whatever, the paper that you handed in, and they'll tell them where everybody should be, and that's fine.
Yeah.
If you play a point and you're out of rotation, the other team can challenge your rotation, and if it's found that you're out, then loss of a point, loss of serve. So that's a good one. Yeah, and the rotation call is this gesture, like
yeah, it is.
It would be better if the ref just sort of did a little rotation up like a penguin, like a penguin in a box. And you have to wait for him or her to totally turn around, like a cuckoo clock rotation, right? Or maybe gyrating
and
hips, rotating hips. That'd be so much. You gotta spice up volleyball a bit, right? Like, what's he doing? Oh, he's calling a rotation, I believe, for his hips, because as Shakira said. Hips don't lie.
See, I was gonna make a joke about volleyball, maybe refs in South America doing that, but then you're gonna be like, "Hey, you're racist."
That is racist. Yeah. I like. It's good you're having this internal dialogue, and you're telling everybody you're racist thoughts anyway. No, that's not racism. Just a compliment.
Right. Well, you said it. It's okay.
I said it.
You brought up Shakira.
I'm brown. So. I'm brown.
Yeah.
I'm brown. So yeah, I have carte brown, carte blanche, white card. Anyway, that's what that means. So rotation call. Serving violation. Line. Foot violation. The ref will point at the line. It's the lines person's job, by the way, to raise that flag when they see a foot fault. Did I ever tell you the time that I was like reffing? I had to line my kid's volleyball match, right?
I think I know what you're going to tell me.
Did I tell you the story? And then I'll tell the people because it's such a good story. Because like they don't know who I am. Right?
It was pretty funny.
Like I'm I'm a big deal in volleyball, right? And I'm sitting there. My kids are
a big deal.
A big deal, like physically large.
Yeah.
Just when I'm naked. And what?
Do you sit on the line and like?
I sit on the line. I eat chips.
Obstruct that part of the court.
See, it's funny because I made a fat joke about me once, and now you just making fat jokes about me. I'm not even fat, everybody. Anyway, so but there's nothing wrong with being fat, by the way.
Nothing wrong.
I'm fat with a PH, but so I was lining the game, right, and it was a close match, third set, and this is like the sign of the times, right? I'm lining on, you can't line on the side of your own team. You have to line on the other side. So I'm watching the other team's foot fault, right? And it's like 13 all, or maybe it might have been 14-13 them. And I'm sorry, but the kid stepped on the line. So I raised the flag, pointed at the line the way I'm supposed to. Ref calls foot fault. The other coach loses his poop, starts screaming that I'm cheating. The parents are screaming that I'm cheating. And I'm like, listen,
having you on opposite sides doesn't help.
Well, I know it doesn't matter, right? Because then I'm calling their attacks.
That's right.
The other team's attacks. I'm calling, but that's what they do to keep you away from, the coach. I don't know what. Anyway, so they pick a side.
That's worse.
In theory, it could be.
Well,
I mean, there's
it's just as bad. It's just as bad. Yeah.
But the bottom line is, so I call the fault. And what I love about this is that like nobody and everybody losing their crap. Nobody says to the kid, "Hey, why don't you pay better attention before a really key serve in a moment?" That's the lesson, right? Oh, key pressure moment.
Lesson lost.
Why don't you back up from the service line and not come so close to the line?
Right.
Instead, they're all blaming me, and I felt like saying to them, like, I was like, I've played so many like important matches in my life. You think I care about a 15-year-old girl's volleyball game? Like, it was so infuriating. I was just like, these losers are projecting what they would do, right? They would cheat for their kids, right? That's why it's in their head. That coach is a loser who's never played. The parents, I hate to say, they were loser parents who never played. They would cheat for their kids, and they're projecting it onto me, who doesn't give a rat's ass about this game, right? I'm always rooting for my kids to lose.
Well,
anyway.
If you don't care, then why'd you make the call? You should just let it go.
Because I care about volleyball.
You should have just let it go.
No, because I care about volleyball, right? If it was my kid, I'd call them. Like 100% I would, because I care about
then
volleyball.
Hit them.
No, I don't care. No, I would love it if they mess up, because it's a great moment to say, "Why are you such a dumbass?"
He dropped his pencil.
I dropped my pencil in case you wonder. So I couldn't believe that they were like so wound up, and I was like, "What a bunch of losers! Like, why don't you go teach your kids something?"
I would be pretty shocked, because I would do the same thing. I would call, and then I would just be like, "What is happening here?" Like, what do you want me to do? I'm trying to uphold the credibility of the game.
I know, and especially at crunch time, like that's a teachable moment for a player. Like, Yeah. But again, it was just such a pathetic. I was just like, oh my god, this is the problem with club sports today. It's like no accountability for athletes. Let's just blame the line guy. Like, if I'm gonna, like, can you imagine the audacity? Can you imagine, like, this is the scenario, okay? They're thinking that I was like,
what was the score?
It was like 13-all in the third set.
Okay.
So they're thinking that I have the cojones to invent a line violation. I'm gonna do, because I'm like evil. like these are like 15.
That's the other thing.
Like what's going on in
so you're mind? Sitting there like, oh
yeah, I can't.
I think this is the time to do
it. Just like the audacity I would have to have. I'd have to be a sociopath.
You'd have to be despicable.
I'd have to leave that arena and murder someone. Like, that's the same, like,
it's pretty
15-year-old girls volleyball.
I'm gonna murder someone, but
No, but do they think that I'm that like wound up in this? Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna single-handedly win the match. And our team did win, which sucked. I was like, oh fudge. Great. I'm gonna get beat up in the parking lot.
You're gonna get stared down at.
No.
Yeah.
Well, immediately I took off my shirt, and that silenced the crowd. Right?
Nice.
Except the women. The
third nipple, right?
No, just because of the rippling muscles and the pectoral muscle.
Right.
The women made the women louder, for crying out loud. The men.
Those nipples grow back right, like in the right direction.
No, unfortunately, they grew inverted. Yeah.
Nice.
So when I get cold now, my spine hurts. The nipples
you could use like those cupping things, to like
suck them out,
pull them out.
Yeah, I tried.
Maybe you just do it once and it'll be in the right
I
position.
I even tried to use a baby. Latched right on. Nothing. Boy, was that woman upset. It's like, if you can do it. Anyway. So if you're doing
babies, stop it.
That's an ongoing thing on the show. People tuning in for the first time must go, why do they keep ending things with, so if you're doing it, stop it.
They gotta be sick of it.
We're making fun of, just for people who don't know, it's an old Michael Jordan.
How are we not sick of it yet? It is,
because it's so funny. It's an old Michael Jordan public service announcement. He did a McDonald's commercial in the 80s, and the commercial was anti-drug. It was like an ad spot, and the commercial ends, so if you're doing drugs, stop it.
And he's in
he's
in a suit. He's always in a suit.
But it was like, it's just the idea. I remember even as a kid watching that, I was like, he makes it sound like a choice.
Yeah.
So if you're doing drugs, stop it. It's not that easy, Michael.
But he's in that position where it looks like he's going to get his high school portrait taken.
Yes.
He's on the thing. He's on the right angle, and he's got the backdrop.
Yes.
And he's looking like this.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like a Justin's photo.
It's too funny.
So if you're doing drugs, stop it. It was just such a little simplistic, I think, McDonald's in their approach. Not Michael Jordan's fault, but whoever wrote that script was like, yeah, if you're doing drugs, stop it. Like, if the druggies are going to be like, yeah, why am I doing drugs? I should just stop it. I should just stop it and do something healthy, like eat a McDonald's burger. McDonald's burgers are healthy. delicious. McDonald's is a sponsor of the show, potentially. They contacted us. We're taking into consideration.
Yeah, they're coming out with the new volleyball nuggets.
The volley burger.
Or instead of a flat burger, it's actually spherical. So they have these new buns.
Spherical.
They wrap around this meatball.
I think you're getting too graphic.
No.
For the show.
And it's a
volley burger. This is going nowhere. This is going
amazing.
Eric, this is going nowhere.
We shouldn't be saying this live on air. Someone's going to take this idea.
The volley burger?
They're going to have curved buns.
Too much meat.
With a meatball.
Mm-mm. It's got to be.
There's no such thing as too much meat.
You're changing consumer behavior.
That's why you can get double or triple patties, man. If people want more burgers, they just add the patties.
As they would say on Shark Tank, does this require a consumer change in behavior? Oh, the camera was on me the whole time. Sorry, missed you there.
It's okay.
Anyway,
they heard the words spherical.
Yes,
they were spoken.
So we're off topic again.
Right.
Are there rules?
I had one. in
your
mind.
head. Where else did you have it?
Yeah.
Where else would you have an idea?
Oh, jousting. That was it.
Oh, jousting. Okay.
Jousting.
Go ahead.
Well, we kind of talked about it earlier. But
swiping, the jousting.
Yeah.
Tight. So you joust when the ball is sitting right above the net. Both players are sort of eligible. There's going to be a fight in the air. So the term that players and coaches use is jousting.
Yeah.
Because it's a joust at the net.
And it can be kind of weird because players will be having their hand on the ball for longer than normal duration if they're like tipping the ball or something.
Or like one-handed blocking each other, pushing on the ball.
Yeah, there's that weird pause because they both go up to push the ball over, but then they obviously both meet at the same time, and then the ball is held. And then what ends up happening is one of the players will just win because there's an art to jousting, and I'm not good at it.
Yeah, and you know that usually the shorter player wins the joust.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
That's what the player usually pushes second or is pushing up.
Wins. Yeah, that's why. Funny because I always used to win joust, and I thought it was because I was strong, but then I found out that it's just because I'm short. And
push up because if you push down, you knock over your center of gravity, and then you fall first, and the ball will come back on your side.
And it's harder to push down than it is to push up. And like
you're pushing against the ball and then the entire person's weight.
And liberos around the country right now are like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Liberos are not allowed to joust.
That's why they're like baffled right now. They're like, what's going on?
What's a joust?
What? There's a net. I remember we shared this post a long time ago. It's like it was like Mufasa looking out over like the thing with Simba and the Lion King, and we wrote the caption, "What's a net violation, father? We don't know, son. We're liberos." Because it sounds like lions.
That's pretty funny.
Libero sounds like lions.
Well, we didn't even talk about net violation. But
no. Yeah, we did. We talked about like the block net violation, but you can't hit the net ever.
You can.
Until the ball is down.
You can hit the net if it's outside of the antenna.
Oh.
Or the equipment.
Yeah. Oh, yep. That's true.
But if the ball hits the net outside the antenna.
Equipment, outside the line, the antenna, that's out of bounds.
It's out of bounds.
Yep. That's another call I prided myself on as a official parent lines person.
Oh, what about the weird one where if the ball comes towards the net, the player on the other side can actually absorb the ball?
Yes.
That's a tricky little one.
Hands up as long as they don't push their hands into the net.
Yeah.
But the ball can hit them through the net, and then you can...
That actually follows...
And in the U.S., they allow you to poke through the net.
Yeah.
Which doesn't... In Canada, I don't think you can yet.
No.
But that can be... Internationally, I'm assuming Canada's with the international community on that. I think the U.S. allows a few different rules earlier than the rest of the world. But so there's a few different things there. So if the ball hits outside of the antennas on the net, it is out of bounds. Yeah. That ball is dead. If it hits the middle of the net, players can play that ball again, as long as they haven't already had their 3 hits.
Off. Yeah. And the players on the other side can have their hands up and absorb, which will hit their palms, and then the ball will drop. So then the team can't continue to play it.
And you can't hit the net during the rally in between the antennas as a player
at all,
unless the ball is down. So a lot of people will, if a middle hits the ball and the ball hits the ground and then the middle hits the net after, or even goes under the net after, it's okay because the ball was declared down. So that's the one that you see happen quite a bit, where people might lose their boop, like he was on the net or she was on the net, but they don't know that the ball was already down. So
that's true. That's a very common one.
Mm-hmm.
The less so common one is when less so. Yeah, I did say that.
Less common.
When
let's go.
The ball is shanked and it goes out of bounds, but crosses the net out of bounds.
Ooh, this is tricky.
You can chase it down, but you have to exit the court outside of the bounds of outside the bounds on your side of the net.
And the ball has to stay outside the antenna.
And then you have to bring it back to your side outside the antenna.
Yes.
And then
so everything has to be outside the antenna.
Yeah.
Because if you bring it back through the inside of the antenna, then that's not right.
Yeah.
Because then you're in their airspace, if you want to say it that way.
Yeah.
So that's where the ball goes out. You can even go under the net, not step on the other team's court, right? So if a player has to go under the net to get, so let's suppose you're in right side, ball goes.
Is that how that works? You just don't have to touch. So you don't have to go like outside the antenna.
No, that's like if it's outside the court. Yeah, but if you don't step on their court on the way out, then you're okay. You can chase that ball down.
Cool.
Smart player on the other team would probably be hanging around outside.
Yeah, I've seen that. They do. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. They try and prevent it.
So that's a tricky one too. But yeah, that's a good one. I'm trying to think what else. Parents, if we don't think of anything in this episode, feel free to head to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe while you're there, and then write in the comments too if you think of other things that we'd like us to talk about.
One that's less common is setters can actually set the ball, or like by tipping it.
Oh, like a one-handed set.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Well, it looks like a tip, but it's a one-handed set.
Yeah.
So parents might see that. They're wondering why there's no call, because that's totally fine.
Yep.
There's a bit of an art to that for setters, but generally you can get pretty good with one hand and like pushing a ball out. And it's actually, it's impossible to double the ball because you're only using one hand. The only thing you could do is do a held ball, but when they are setting with when they're doing one-handed sets, they're generally pushing the ball, so it doesn't really rest on their hand very long at all. And that's, what if it comes out, even if it comes out with spin, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's where they might call it.
If it's heavy spinning, they will call it.
Yeah, they're a little picky on
because every time it has to be pretty clean.
Yeah,
not like super clean, but like
there was a time where they would start to call those even if they came out clean, and again now they've relaxed it a little bit.
Yeah,
No, that looks clean. I mean, what are you going to call, right? Like it's
a tip.
Yeah, it's a tip. It really is fingertip action and just sort of shoot that ball out. One thing I do like as a beach guy, I learned to like pokey set pretty well, and that way setter even indoor, it's a little safer. They can never really call that. It's kind of like avoiding the conflict of the one-handed set, but it is pretty easy to lay it up there. Like if you get up and just if you played basketball, you might like be tempted to backspin it.
Then you get called.
But yeah, the one-handed set. The players who got blocking violations.
What about like the stuff at the start of the match? Starts with a coin toss. Mm-hmm. When you change sides, both teams need to go to the back of the court, and then they need to rotate.
Right.
Counterclockwise.
A lot of players forget to do that after matches or after sets. Shake hands at the net.
Go under the net outside.
Side change in the third set. Halfway through the third set. That's because of obstructions that might be there on the roof, and just different advantages, backdrops in gymnasiums.
Happens at once a team hits 8 points.
Mm-hmm. I think that's about it. Like, is there any weird things? I'm trying to think if there's any weird things that happen that disrupt rallies that a parent might be wondering about, or a coach might even wonder about. Like there's always those "what's the call" moments, right, in volleyball.
Yeah,
that's what we're trying to get at here. Sometimes there's weird things that pop up. Like there have been times where like a serve comes up and a player's foot is out of bounds, and the down ref might see that and call it dead because the player's not. You have to be standing in the court while the other team is serving. Also, as a server, technically speaking, in gyms where there's a lot of room, you as a server have to start your service motion inside that sideline. And if you look,
you have to finish your serve inside. You can start it outside. Can't
no,
you?
you can't. You have to
start
inside.
Oh, hence the dotted
line. That's what I was just gonna say. The continuation, and actually, it's funny because the continuation of those lines on a real volleyball court go down the baseline, so the server knows where to, like down the sideline, I should say. So the server knows where to start their serve. Yeah. And also in a real gym, the attack line continues outside the court too, for those hitters that are hitting outside, and the ref can then better judge the, whether their backcourt attack is legal or not. And you can, by the way, take off in front of the attack line as long as you're still deemed under the net.
Yeah.
Some people mistake that the setter.
So you're fine.
Setters dump.
Attack,
setters
right?
dump. Setters dump. That's one we should talk about.
Oh,
backcourt setters. They can come up. They'll come up and set the ball, but they can't jump. And same thing over the tape. They can't be above the height of the net when they dump the ball or tip the ball.
Yeah.
Some setters and some liberos, like technically speaking, they can jump, but because they're short or they're not very high off the ground, and they can still send it over as long as they're the below. So some parents might see that someone jump in the backcourt and dump it over, but they're still way below the height of the net, so it's legal. Yeah. So, I mean, that's another thing. That's another reason why. So parents might not understand this. Like when they see the blockers in the front court and they're identifying players that are like 3, 7, 6, they're naming the attackers and backcourt hands. That means that they're telling their teammates, don't jump on a tight pass because that setter's backcourt. They can't jump and dump it, we call it, or jump and send the ball over. And they're identifying the hitters because sometimes in a serve receive, it can be confusing who the actual front court attackers are. And so that they're telling each other who to block.
Because if you have a back row setter, you have 3 front row attackers.
Yeah, and backcourt hands. So it just lets you know that. And if it's front court hands, they'll say that too. That way, one of the blockers, the left side blocker, and the middle might worry about the setter as a potential dumper. Someone who might jump and tip the ball over.
Jumper dumper.
Yeah. Backcourt hands, no jumps, no dumps. No jump, no dumps. No jump, dumps. Yeah, so that's why the backcourt setter is so important to teams, because it means they have 3 attackers and the setter's less of a threat to jump and dump.
There's more.
Yeah, there's lots. I mean, there's some little things. I mean, these aren't really rules as much, but you might hear players in the backcourt calling, seams for serve receive. That's like, left seam, right seam. Even some players, I think, sometimes struggle with that when they first hear their teammates say it.
Yeah, but that's not rules. That's just strategy.
I just said that.
Oh.
But it is something that parents might hear that might be confusing for them. And there are sort of like rules about who takes which seam, but it's not a rule, but it's like a more of a more. A social more. Cross-court player takes seam from the server, basically. But yeah, any other rules you think of that refs blow a play dead? There's confusion on the court. What just happened? I guess. Well, so one time I've seen like a setter that was tall, trapped in the front court on an overpass, sticks their hands up to quote unquote hopefully get a block touch or a soft block, but because their hands are above the net, it's still
for sure
still illegal play.
This a weird one happened to me the other day where we served, the other team overpassed the ball, and it was a weird overpass though. It was like low, and I went up to hit it, but because it came over very low, I hit it, and then it hit it into the top of the tape, and it didn't go over. But then it bounced back on my side, and I was already like saying no, because I thought the player was gonna die. But my players behind me actually popped the ball back up.
Yep.
And then my teammate went and hit it again. And so when I first landed after my hit and I turned around, I was so confused, and then I realized that I just had first contact.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, what? Oh, right. Because it
feels like the end of a rally.
Yeah, it just hasn't happened a lot before.
Well, that's where like players, like same thing. Like if a team's attacking on 2, player hits in the net, another teammate could come bump that ball up
Yep.
over the net.
Yeah.
And people get confused by that. So that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ball's still alive. Just because it's an attack doesn't mean it was the third
the end.
third contact or not.
Yeah.
That's a key one.
Well, and then did you like describing the block? The blocker is allowed to change the direction of the ball,
Yes.
right? I don't think we said that.
Well,
but
we talked a little bit about how sometimes we've seen a few refs call
they're
that
calling
in error.
it because there's too much hold on the ball.
Yes,
There's
yes.
too much. So again,
but
when
they shouldn't because it's really
Right.
loud.
when an overpass comes over, or even free ball or something, and a blocker goes up, they're allowed to kind of pretty much grab the ball
Yeah,
and
throw
throw
it
it in any direction they want. With well, it's generally with their wrist because you can't get your elbows over the net.
Yeah,
or
no, but that's a good
shoulders.
one because a lot of people see that and they
Yeah.
think that it looks wrong, and it does. Like even for me, my whole life, I felt like that looks wrong.
Yeah,
But they're allowed to go up free ball, throw it down.
Yeah.
It's allowed. Yeah. And the ref, people get angry with the ref for not calling something, but it's in the rules. So,
yeah.
and the odd time you'll see a ref call it and they're wrong to call it. I think we can safely say, unless the player held it, looked around for a while,
They shouldn't call it. Yeah,
jumped back up
yeah.
like a rebound. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other weird plays that end rallies.
I've been called before where my jersey hits the net.
Right. Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
You get called. Well, sometimes you will.
Yeah. Well, here's something. What about girls' ponytails? It counts as a touch on the ball. Just so you know. So if you're a blocker
On the ball.
if you're a blocker, let's say a female. I saw this actually. Serbian national women's team. She went to turn around, or she's at the net. Her ponytail, the ball hit her ponytail, and that was called a block touch. Any part of you,
it's
right?
part of her. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's called a touch. Yeah. So ponytail hits the ball, counts as a touch. Yeah.
I mean,
It
yeah,
should, right?
Yeah.
Like if the ball's going out of bounds and you try to get out of the way and it hits your ponytail. That's why I shaved my ponytail.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And even my man bun.
And your goatee.
I had my man bun. And I was getting everything, hitting the top of my head. Everything going out of bounds. And I was like, screw the man
Start
bun.
winning now.
Screw the man bun. That's when I got a Cinnabon. Cinnabon.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Kind of gross when you look at them and think about them.
They're like 1,200 calories.
They're like 8 Big Macs.
What would you rather eat? A meatball burger or a Cinnabon?
Cinnaburger. Okay, so I think so this is indoor. So I mean, we can go into beach rules some other day. We did that actually, the basics of beach volleyball. I think.
Yeah.
And the differences between beach. There's an episode if you're worried about if you want to click that right here. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. But it is in our list of episodes if you want to know the basics of beach. I think that wraps this up for today. I think we covered quite a few. Hopefully that helped you. Again, if there's something specifically you want us to talk about, let us know in the comments on our YouTube channel. We do read them.
We do.
Yeah, and they mean a lot. And, if you're listening to this and you have a heart, maybe you can subscribe, right?
Or you're going to guilt them into it. Nice.
Well, it'd be nice, because it's
Powerful-
all we
powerful
ask.
emotion.
Oh, yeah, like we spend hours doing this. It's all we ask is that you just subscribe.
Just click the button.
Because if we get up to like 1,000, if we get up to 1,000 subscribers, then we can actually generate a little bit of money to help pay for some of this equipment, my clothes. I'm not wearing any pants.
Your haircuts.
My
that are
haircuts,
expensive.
my toupees.
Your hair grows ridiculously fast. Eh?
Does it?
I don't know. Does it? If you have to.
I don't know. I water
shave
it.
Your
I
man
water
bun.
it every day.
Yeah.
Every other day. I know, but I do think that if you subscribe, then we get to 1,000 subscribers, then we can get some money off YouTube ads.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to help a brother out. Help a volley brother out.
And send us your club swag.
Yeah, send us your club swag. Extra larges. 2 extra larges. Or, hats. We'll wear them and we'll advertise your club for you. To all of our, people are still we talk about the YouTube subscribers, but people are listening on Spotify, people are listening on Apple.
It's true.
We do
Thank
quite well
you for listening there as well.
Yeah, and people are leaving us comments, and honestly, thank you for the comments. It really means a lot. It helps keep us going because it is a bit of a grind, and it's hard to get in here every week and think of a topic that matters to people. And
there's no interaction with anyone who listens on Apple and Spotify.
Not much.
There's no way to comment stuff.
There are some surveys, and you can do some of that stuff, but and polls, but it's not the same as YouTube or email. We have our info@volleyballogy.org. So yeah, thanks for listening as always, folks. We are an hour and a half in, so
cool.
that's good. You're all done?
Yeah. Ask us if we missed any rules, and we'll talk about them.
Yeah, we will. We'll bring them up quickly, even if it's at the beginning of the next topic or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thanks for watching episode 54. We are still here, and thank you for telling us that you're still here. And maybe we should do a shout out to Cam if Cam's still listening.
Oh yeah, we should do.
Cam is a.
Hope
Cam
you
is
enjoyed the show, Cam.
There's this lost child, Cam, that loves our show, and Cam's been leaving us comments, and I mean, Cam's a bit of a loser, I guess. But,
oh no!
But we'll just see.
Clingy.
Well, don't tell Cam. We'll see if Cam really listens to the end, because Cam tells us that he listens to every episode and he listens to the end.
Yeah.
So now we'll see. So Cam, if you listen to the end, the code. What's the code word? Is monkey bone. Okay, Cam. So if we hear you mention the word monkey bone, then we'll know that you're listening to the end, like you say you do, Cam. Little weasel. Anyway, all right. That's all from us, and we will see you guys next time on Volleyballogy.
See ya.
What's the big idea?